Hey, Facebook Live. Thank you for being here today on this, what's today? Wednesday, wonderful Wednesday morning. And of course, hey Jim, how's it going, brother? If you get a chance to see this now, I appreciate it. If you get a chance to see this later, I also appreciate it. Like the great Jay-Z said, you could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate it. And today on Daily Motivation, I want to talk about dealing with change. As we are in this climate of change, and life is always changing. I mean, if you go to the past when you were 5 years old, right, all the way up to the age you are now, you realize things in society has changed. Technology, the way we dress, the way we talk, the way we act, different trends. Things are always changing. Somebody told me a quote once. The only thing consistent in the universe is change. The only one thing you could bank on is change. It's always going to happen. So knowing that, how do we deal with the constant change? Because many of us don't like change. Starting to get warm over here. Yes, right. Climate change, right? You know what I mean? It gets from winter to fall to spring. Even your day changes, the time changes, everything changes. So how do we deal with this constant change? One, we need to know that there is always a change. So when it happens, we're not so surprised because there's two types of people in the world. There's the bendable and there's the rigid. But if you take a rigid stick or a pencil that's rigid, what happens? It breaks. But if you have something that's like this, a string that's bendable, I could pull it, push it, turn it around, and it just rolls with it. So number one, we have to be bendable. We have to be flexible. We have to know that change is always and consistently is going to come, no matter what. Even if, I didn't expect that change. Even though you didn't expect that specific change, it's always wise to expect change because it will happen. It always has. Throughout history, it's always happened. So that's the one thing that's always going to be consistent. And how do we become bendable, Rich? All right, so I've been rigid my whole life. I've had the same job, the same career, doing the same things every single day. How do I make the change? Great question. What I've learned to make the change is from a book that I actually read when I was in corporate from Dr. Spencer Johnson, Who Moved My Cheese? Who Moved My Cheese? If you haven't read this book, it's a very small book, not very big at all, but it's a great book in understanding how to adjust to change and be bendable. And I'll give you a brief synopsis of the story. It is about two men who were shrunk to the size of mice. And they were put into a maze. Inside this maze was this corridor full of cheese. And every day they would wake up and go to this corridor and eat their cheese and go back home. And one day, and there's other mice inside the maze as well. And the mice would come and eat the cheese as well as the men. One day, they go to their cheese hut and they realize the mice weren't showing up. And the mice haven't showed up for days. And they're like, that's weird. They usually show up every single day. One of them became a little weary, like, this is weird. Maybe we should check this out. While the other one says, well, forget them. There's more cheese for us. Like, doesn't even worry about those mice. Let's just keep eating our cheese. Keep doing the same things over and over again. So the guy said, okay. Then one day they came there and all the cheese was gone. All the cheese was gone. And they start freaking out. They're like, oh my God, where's the cheese? Who moved my cheese? There was cheese here yesterday. Where's the cheese? And the other one guy said, maybe the mice that weren't showing up, maybe they're going to another location. Maybe we should try to track them and find out where the new cheese is. While the other guy said, well, man, I don't know about all that. We've never been out to the maze. We've never done anything different. We've never been out into venture. We've always done the same things every day. I'm not sure about that. He says, but man, if we stay here, we'll starve. We have to go get some more cheese. And the original guy said, no, I bet you if you come back tomorrow, everything will come to its senses and they'll bring back the cheese. The guy said, okay. They went there next day, no cheese. Following day, no cheese. A week and 2 weeks passed, there was still no cheese. And then finally the guy says, listen, man, we're starving. We got to go find some cheese. And they're like, man, I don't know what's out there. It could be dangerous out there. I don't know what's out there, man. I'm going to stay right here. I bet you they're going to bring back the cheese. The one guy says, listen, man, I can't stay here. You can stay if you want, but I'm going to go venture out for some cheese. And at first it was scary because he never been out into the maze. And yes, did he get lost? Absolutely. Did he tripped? He sprung his ankle. He was scared and he was starving still. But he still said, you know what, I'm gonna venture out. I'm gonna do this. And every day that passed when he was out in the venture, though it was scary, he started feeling more alive. He started seeing things that he never saw before, realizing things he's never realized. But he's like, oh, I never knew this path of the maze led here. And I never knew this path of the maze led here. And after a while, he just started exploring and feeling good. He was like, man, this is new. This is exciting. And then he eventually found a corridor full of cheese. More cheese than he originally had in his first corridor. And he saw all the mice there just eating their cheese regularly. And like, hey, man, where you been? And he was like, wow, like, this is where everyone's been this whole entire time. They moved. They saw the changes. They were aware. You know, animals are very aware. So they were very aware of things changing. And so they just moved with the change. Before they were forced to move. See, there's two types of people. One that move because of awareness. They say, okay, this is where things are going. I'm going to move with it. And there's a second type of person that says, I'm going to sit here until life pushes me out. But I'm going to tell you right now, life is kind of an a-hole. When life pushes you, it pushes you. It really, really pushes you. So the wise know to move before life pushes you. And so finally, he gets there, and he's full of cheese. More cheese than he ever had before. And he just sat there thinking about the other guy, wondering and hoping, hopefully they brought back some cheese, and hopefully he's okay. See, in life, we're going to be hit with those crossroads. Do I make the change now? Do I move forward? Hey, Jasmine. Hey, Steven. Do I make the change now and move with the times? Or do I stay stagnant and rigid and say, you know what? I want my cheese. I'm going to stay right here till they bring back my cheese. But here's this little secret. They're not coming back with the cheese. Can't be afraid to pivot. You can't be afraid to pivot, but you got to always move. Life is an ebb and flow, so you have to move with life. Life is a stream. Like, think of a river going down a stream. Life is always moving. And I'm sorry, my phone's dying here. Let me make sure I charge it. All right. You have to move with the stream. So if you're going down a river, you have no choice but to go down with the river. But if you start swimming uphill, you're wasting your time, one, because the stream is going to go. Life is going to go the way it's going to go. It doesn't matter what you say, what you say. It's going to move. And so the wise say, okay, well, if life is moving this direction, I'm going to move with it. I'm going to be flexible. I'm just going to roll with the river. Versus others try to swim upstream. One, they waste their time. And two, they're putting up so much effort. While somebody's flowing, you ever been on a boat that's just flowing downstream? You don't need a paddle. You don't need a push. It just goes. But those that are going upstream are constantly rowing in the wrong direction. So number one is, again, you have to be flexible. If you're too rigid, like the pencil that I broke, I don't want to break another pencil because, I'm cheap like that. But you saw, if you watched the original video, here he goes, you'll break like the pencil if you're too rigid. Or if you're flexible, you'll bend and move with it. And so, in this story, either A, you're going to be the person that says, I'm going to venture out for more cheese and end up with a massive amounts of cheese. Or you're going to be the person stuck in the same exact place, doing the same things with no cheese. Again, this is Rich Fontaine. Either you could agree with me or not agree with me, but either way I feel. This right here was a successful conversation. Love is love. I appreciate all of you. Jim, thank you for watching. In your comments, please like, please share, please comment with your friends, for your staff, especially in this time right now. I know a lot of people the change and things changing is bothering them and they can't conform, but understand that life is always going to change, and if you change with it, you end up in a way better spot. When Bill Gates created Microsoft, he knew where the times were going. When Jeff Bezos created Amazon, he knew the time was going. And people were making fun of him. People say, yo, nobody's going to buy books online. We got bookstores. We got Barnes and Nobles. We got Books A Million. Do we, though? You know, Blockbuster say, why am I sell movies online, man? That's stupid. Why am I sell movies online? I'm going to sit right here in my commerce, in my building, and I'm going to sell my videos out of my store. Until life said, okay, you do that. No cheese for you. Move with the times. Be ahead of the times. And you'll find success. Love is love.